I'd like to elaborate on a concept that I mentioned in a previous video. I didn't elaborate on it then, and I want to spend some time talking about this concept that I referred to as the eternal fire. I said that there's an eternal fire that is occurring, and that we are partaking in this eternal fire. And I want to explain a little bit about Western thought and how we communicate with our speech this idea that we are the eternal fire. So let me explain what's happening and how we are perceiving what's happening, and then I'll explain a little bit how even our speech reflects what our understanding of what's going on. So in previous videos I've talked about that there is a single source of energy that we refer to as God, an eternal, expanding, positive source of energy. And this source of energy, which is represented by the positive sign, is energizing our souls, our individual souls. As our souls are being energized, receiving positive charges from this single source, from God, we are perceiving these positive charges, this positive energy. We perceive it, our soul perceives it as love. That's how we perceive what is happening. It's much like the process of photosynthesis. It's like the photosynthesis of the soul. And I want to touch on sun worship, because sun worship is a very obvious religious expression of what I'm talking about. It's much more obvious because people who worship the sun, this was their basic understanding of what was going on. They perceived that their energy was coming from the sun, and they're not wrong. The sun is the source of life on our planet. The sun is a smaller source from this single source, which is the eternal, intelligent, burning fire, that is also referred to as the Logos, which I'll touch on in a minute. So the Logos, when we read Scripture, and Jesus refers to himself as the Logos, many English translations are written, Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. That is not the original Greek. That is not how it was written. It was written, I am the Logos, one word. Logos means light. It means reason. It's referring to this eternal fire. Reason, that which is logical, that which is rational, the light, the eternal burning fire. I am the Logos. And when he says, I am the Logos is within him. I am the Logos. I am that which is immortal. I am the eternal burning flame. When we say things like, I'm burning calories, what we are doing is we're acknowledging that we are throwing wood on top of this fire to keep the fire going within our own bodies. And if we don't continue to keep this fire going, if we don't continue to burn calories, if we don't throw wood on the fire, we experience death. And what happens when we die? When we die and you touch that body that's dead, the body is now cold because the fire has left the body. The fire is eternal. The fire is immortal and continues to exist. It's the body that deteriorates. So I used the word cold. Well, what is cold? Cold is simply the absence of heat. So the way that we perceive everything, the way that we're aware of our reality is this, we understand there's all these polarities in nature. There's a bipolar system to everything. So we know that something is cold because it has less heat than something else. Cold is the absence of heat. Cold itself does not exist per se. Darkness is the absence of light. There's light, and then there is not light, which is darkness. There is love, and there is the absence of love. The absence of love is what the soul recognizes as fear. Now, as I said, we are receiving positive charges from a single source known as God, and our soul is perceiving these positive charges as love. And in previous videos I explained a little bit better that the soul goes through a harmonization process. we are vibrational beings. So there is no smallest particle. Everything is energy, and everything is energized from a single source. So there's that which is represented by the positive, that which is not, which is represented by the negative. So when that which is energized and comes into contact as it eternally expands, as it comes into contact with that which does not exist, when unconditional love comes into contact with the soul, the first emotion that is felt is fear. And we process all the various emotions in between fear and love. And as the soul is harmonized, as the soul becomes more positively charged, it becomes more loving, becomes more akin to love, unconditional love. Now we, as a species, I've mentioned in a previous video, are in the process of outgrowing the emotion of fear because we have mastered our survival in our environment. I'm not saying we're going to be rid of fear anytime soon, but we are outgrowing that emotion because it is no longer serving our purpose in the physical world like it once did. We no longer fear for our survival to the same extent that we once did. We have mastered our survival. We are learning how to not exchange so much of our time for survival. And we are becoming more concerned with these ideas, these concepts like fellowship and love and communion, and figuring out who we are as humanity. What does it mean to be a human being, to interact with other human beings? And as we mature and as we grow, we begin to understand that we are a single energetically connected member of this organism known as humanity. We're one organism, all energetically connected, but yet we're also individuals as well. This is happening as we outgrow the emotion of fear, as we become more harmonized, as humanity itself becomes more harmonized and energetically positive, we become more loving. We say about a person who is very fearful and has negative thoughts and speaks negatively, we call that person a negative person. And somebody who is happy, somebody who is lighter, who's lightened up, right, we call them a positive person. Our language is reflecting, actually, the way things are to a certain extent. Now, I've also mentioned the word karma. Now, this is something that is very misunderstood, especially in the Western world, like where we think of karma as getting what you deserve or getting what you don't deserve. Karma is the negative charge, the negativity surrounding the soul. Okay? Karma is just the negative energy surrounding the soul that is being processed and expelled through the emotions as it's being positively charged. And as we process this karma through fear, negative karma is a result of fear. Fear inspires negative behavior. So, there's a couple of music videos that I wanted to mention because they actually they're portraying this concept. And you may like this art, you might not like this art, but it's very interesting to note, and they became very popular music videos. First one's Katy Perry, and she's in this music video, Firework. And if you watch that video, I recommend watching the music video because the visuals actually portray this concept also, along with the words. And another one is Diamonds with Rihanna. Diamonds starring Rihanna is another one that portrays this concept. When she's saying we're like diamonds in the sky, she's saying we're like stars. We're the eternal burning fire. When Katy Perry is singing about how you're a firework, she's saying you are a spark. You are part of this eternal burning fire that's occurring. There's another interesting thing I want to note about the music video Diamonds, which I believe is portraying the concept of the twin flame. That is a topic that some of you may have heard about, some of you may not have heard about, And it's a very interesting concept, and anybody who thinks that they may be a twin flame is very, very, very much drawn to that subject, because it's very interesting, it's very intriguing, and it is very thought-provoking. I'm not going to touch on it right now, but it very much helps us to explain the polarities of masculinity and femininity. These are this is a scale, okay? Masculinity and femininity is a scale of soulhood. And it gives the soul the ability to become aware of itself and to understand itself. And it does it through two different lenses. And in a later video, I'm going to explain how those two lenses work, how those two things are constantly seeking balance, reconciliation, and harmony between the two as the soul processes the emotions and as the soul attempts to integrate both its masculine and its feminine energy as it evolves and changes. That's a very brief explanation of what I mean when I say we're the eternal fire. I'll elaborate on it in future videos, and in future videos I'm also going to explain why we have masculinity and femininity, and I'm also going to talk about this concept of the twin flame. So, if you like this video, please like my video and please subscribe to my channel. And if you have any disagreements or comments or anything, any criticisms or anything, please let me know in the comment section, because it always helps. People's criticism always helps me to think about this stuff a little bit further. So that's all I have. Thank you.